Okay, I believe we are now live. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these parts and around social media and the internet. So we are back thank you for Will noticing that I had left the title. I had copy and pasted the title of last week's live stream. That is fixed now. So the title should be right. You may need to refresh your screen if that was important to you to see. But anyway, what we are going to go over today, we have an 11-month testimonial from someone, and it's great. Goes over lots of the concepts that I do differently than everybody else, including, for those of you gobbling down progesterone because of advice from certain people, including a man who just passed away on Thanksgiving. Yeah, progesterone and other hormones that you take in excess can accumulate in your fat. And it's not fun when it comes out. People be like, but hormones don't accumulate in your fat. And I go, how do they give you those hormones? How do they administer them? What do they give them to you in? Oil or lotion? Oil or lotion, what are those typically based on? Fats and oils. Oh, so how do they get the hormones to stay in there? Oh, because hormones are fat soluble. Gosh. Why does no one use this? Why don't they? And I'm not talking about the person. The person listened to me, and she had to. Hormones are. You go and mess with hormones. Okay. First of all, you're saying my body's broken, I can't fix it. I mean, if somebody's missing organs like endocrine glands, you're missing your thyroid, you're missing your adrenal gland, you're missing, one of them. You can't get away with both of them. You're missing other hormone, you're missing a testicle or both, and you need to take hormones. That's different. If you are a normal functioning person with functioning glands and you have low hormones, you are not well. There's a problem. Hormones are a symptom. Think of it as like a pyramid, and Illuminati confirmed right here. Now, think of it like a pyramid. Hormones are at the top. They're some of the most powerful things in our system, right? So imagine the pyramid. Everything on the pyramid is built from what's at the base below it, right? Everything below your hormones has to support them in being made and being produced. So does it make sense that if you just jump up to the top of the pyramid and you disregard everything that's building it, you're ignoring the problem? You're medicating the problem. It's not a hormone deficiency that's causing your problems. It's everything that the hormones are built upon. Toxicities, deficiencies. This is what we fix. This is why you can go back on this channel and look at my video about why at 47 years old, my testosterone level is 900. That shouldn't be normal in this day and age. I mean, it's absolutely not normal. And I have two other 40-year-old men, one at 750 total tests and another one at 800. This is not a fluke. We are fixing the base of the pyramid. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go over this woman's testimonial. It is for those of you who are in the Love Your Liver network, you probably saw it. I'm not going to mention her name because I just don't do that, because I don't need anyone trying to give me trouble about saying somebody's medical information. But this is a testimonial that was published inside the Love Your Liver network. She'll probably come out and do a video on it herself. So let's go. Oh yeah, I didn't get to remind you guys. First of all, so if you want other people to see this, make sure to hit the like button. You might need to click out of chat to go hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And then if you guys are watching this later after it's already been broadcast, leaving a comment helps with everything. It helps the computer system to know that people like this and that they want more people to see it. So anyway, let's go. Here we go with the testimonial. Here it's quoting now. 11-month review. I've been following low vitamin A for 11 months now and working with Garrett Smith as a patient for 6. Just about to have my 6-month appointment. So 6 months, she started 6 months ago. We're about to do it with working with me. So she had been doing, so let me make sure I understand this, that you understand this. 6 months ago, she started working with me doing the low vitamin A diet. Sorry, 6 months before that, 5 months before that, she started the low vitamin A. 5 months in, she started working with me. 6 months now after that, we are about to do our second consult appointment. So total of 11 months on low vitamin A, 6 months of working with me, and we're about to do our second appointment. Okay, so here we go. Before my appointment, I thought I would document everything that's improved in the past 11 months. What I can remember anyway. For background, I came here because I was hypothyroid and she was medicated, also on bioidentical hormones for other hormone issues. And I had also developed IBS constipation and histamine intolerance. IBS with constipation or IBS constipation focus. There's IBS diarrhea too. So I just threw that in there. And extremely tired all the time, but especially hard to get going in the morning, and a big crash mid-morning that lasted till about 4 p.m. daily. This is in spite of being on thyroid medication and having a bit of caffeine daily. Headaches daily. Now, so we're moving into how she's doing now. Digestion, I am able to eat more foods without digestive upset, bloating, cramping, etc., though I still have trouble with too much fiber or fruit. Overall, my digestive system has calmed down significantly. I am not constipated, nor is it a constant nagging issue in the background. When you can forget about your digestive system for hours and days at a time, this is a huge turnaround. So I'm going to do an aside here. I talk about soluble fiber. Some people make the mistake of thinking that me saying this means more is better. That is absolutely not what I say. When you come into the Love Your Liver program, and or especially if you start working with me and I can help guide you, and the other 1,500 members of the Love Your Liver network can help with their experiences, because it's social media the way it was supposed to be. It's a network where we have people on the same mission helping each other. And when you have 1,500 people, we can have a lot more information than just my experience, even though I have a lot of experience in pattern recognition, this stuff. Anyway, soluble fiber is helpful in getting bile out. Can people do too much? Yes. What am I always after? The right dose for the right person at the right time in their process. Now, this person is very good at listening to their body, which is what I teach you how to do and what we are okaying you to do. Other doctors, other practitioners want you to do exactly what they say. That is, we have concepts and principles that you apply to your situation. This is the difference. Okay, continuing. Histamine intolerance. Lots of people talk about this. Definitely managed, as I am not itchy all over like I used to be. I still supplement DAO. That's a supplement that helps with histamine issues. But I don't have to be nearly as careful with my diet. I can eat aged meat and other histamine foods, which saves us a bunch of money because low histamine meat in particular is expensive. I'm going to do an aside here. I want you to understand there's people out there who obsess on histamine. We don't obsess on histamine in this group, in my world. We fix the toxicity and the deficiencies, and that fixes the histamine problem. That's what we fix. We fix toxicities and deficiencies. And as you'll see in the rest of this testimonial, the other problems fix themselves. We fix the base of the pyramid, which fixes everything above it. Okay? Thyroid. Fully off thyroid medications and caffeine, and I actually feel less tired now than I was when I was on those. I weaned off slowly every few weeks, reducing the dose until I got off. I got off caffeine within a week. So actually, I hardly noticed the thyroid medication change each time, except that I had fewer headaches from the medicine and my heart wasn't racing so much. I was probably experiencing over medication due to improving so much on this program that the medication became more and more unneeded. My labs I just had drawn are for thyroid levels too, and based on how I'm feeling, I expect them to all come back normal. So, my aside, we made her healthier, and her thyroid came back into range. Hypothyroidism, for all of you, but especially you ladies, and autoimmune thyroid is toxicity and deficiency. Your doctors, even alternative doctors, will tell you that you're going to need thyroid medication forever. You're broken. That is not the world that we live in here. When people do things right, when they put in the work, and they are guided properly, not just following bloggers on the internet, we can fix this problem. It's usually not as quickly as this person had. One other thing I want you all to know is that we did not use iodine. Extremely rarely in my work do we ever even talk about iodine. Everyone else on the internet is trying to poison your thyroid with potassium iodide. Potassium iodide is poisonous to your thyroid. And I have shown all the research from this on a video on this channel, I believe, and you can also look on my research forum. The only thing your thyroid needs a bit of is iodine, not iodide. Iodine. And apparently there is enough in the normal human diet that we do, even a low vitamin A diet, that people can get off thyroid medications. Isn't it weird how we do things opposite and we get people off thyroid hormones while everybody else is putting them on more and slowly escalating their dose? We do things differently and we get different results. This is what we do. Continuing, other hormones. I am off bioidentical hormones. I had no idea how tired the progesterone was making me until I got off of it. Sure, I slept well when I took it, but I was also in a tired fog all the time. The detox coming off of it was rough, with a few months of hip and back pain at night that messed with my sleep. But I got through it, and magnesium baths and lotion helped me more than anything else. I chose to go cold turkey on stopping progesterone because I felt it was giving me headaches and dizziness and making me more tired, so I might as well just stop. I also stopped testosterone cold turkey because it was giving me headaches. I don't think I had any trouble stopping the testosterone, but perhaps detoxing it from contributed to the hip and back pain too. I haven't had hip and back pain for a few months now, so I got through it, no matter if that was just the progesterone or both of them. We're saving a few $100s per month with this. Plus, my husband stopped his too. On a side, hormones. Well, thyroid hormone, progesterone, testosterone. No, you are not getting informed consent out there about what these things do to you and what they do to your liver. Hormones are some of the most complex things that your liver has to process. You know that bile acids and bile salts are considered steroid hormones? Those are pretty complicated and complex and important for the liver to process. So progesterone, steroid hormone, testosterone, steroid hormone, Taking hormones adds the load to your liver, which is already suffering if you have health issues, any health issues. You don't need your doctor to say your liver enzymes are elevated for you to be having health issues in your liver. If you have health issues, you have liver issues. Simple. I'll show you as I'm going to go over with lupus today, and I'm going to go over in autism, the connections to toxic bile and your liver. Got to stay hydrated. I got about 5 hours of on camera time today. Gosh, good thing my brain is running so well on all that vitamin A. Oh, wait, and copper. Oh, wait, I keep away from those things. Get people off hormones. Run my brain for 5 hours at high intensity. Boy, these vitamins and nutrients must be so important, right? Okay, here we go. More. Fatigue. If I have a good night's sleep, which is improving little by little, I am not tired in the morning and I don't crash at lunchtime. I'm also a bit more productive and motivated, which for me is related to my level of fatigue. This is a really, really big deal because I used to get so sleepy, tired midday, I couldn't even function. I still take a nap daily, but the need for the nap has reduced. Some days I only lie down to give my neck a break. It's part of my neck therapy protocol to lie down frequently to take the load off. I think most of my fatigue was from potassium deficiency related to copper toxicity, so I take a lot of potassium. Don't get me wrong, I'm still tired, just not quite so much. My aside. All these things don't get fixed right away. This is six months of working with me and 5 months of the low vitamin A diet before that. So 11 months low vitamin A diet, 6 months of working with me. There's only so much magic I can work in 6 months, right? When I have somebody who does the work like she's doing, and we have guidance. So how much money have you spent out there on practitioners and supplements and not gotten any better and gotten worse? Or you got better at the start and then you got worse? This is 11 months. I want you to know most of the testimonials you see on the internet are like within the first couple weeks or a month, maybe 2 or 3 months. That's the honeymoon phase. There's honeymoon phases in health. And then later things hit the fan for a lot of people. What that means is you took something that was toxic that made you feel better, and later the toxicity of it really started to show. This is the whole basis of pharmaceutical medicine, folks. Why would it not work with other things that are toxic for you? Okay, continuing. Headaches. I was having headaches from both neck/disc/nerve issues and supplements/hormones. Most days now, since over 2 months ago, I am headache free. This is huge because I was having headaches every day for years. I think mostly this is from the neck therapy, but I am also very sensitive to supplements, and Love Your Liver, that's the program, helped me realize this big time when I cut them all out and then started adding them back in one by one and seeing how my body reacted. Another aside. I cannot emphasize how much, to those of you who are listening, who are working with me or just doing the Love Your Liver program, or just you're out there trying to figure things out for yourself. This person, this woman, is doing everything I suggest in the way I suggest. She took them all out and she put them back in one by one to see how she felt when she put them back in. This is the only way you reading research papers on the internet or some blogger who just puts together studies and they say this is good for this, and you take it and you have a bad reaction to it. It doesn't matter what they said about it. It's not good for you. We'll get into that in just a second. If your chemistry is wrong, so like you can have mechanical, like biomechanical problems in your structure that cause pain. If you have biochemical chemistry problems, it will make the pain worse. Okay? You can stack crap on top of crap. right? I know I have a neck issue. I have a military neck, like a very straight neck curve. I remember my parents told me that there was one time where we were at, I'm guessing this is when it happened. We were at a restaurant when I was an infant or a very young child, and we were sitting at a table and they heard a loud like gong sound. And they looked down into the table and I had somehow fallen, and that was my head hitting the bottom of the table, the big round, metal thing on the bottom of the table. I don't know that I've ever had a neck injury, and obviously I don't remember that. I was like an infant. But could that have been what caused my neck structure to shift? Sure, why not? Do I have neck pain now? I used to have neck pain, and I could tell you that nightshades would flare up my neck pain. It was the right side. I could walk out, even when I knew about nightshades, and I still chose to go to a Mexican food restaurant and eat salsa, which is like, peppers and tomatoes. It's like the worst combo of nightshades. And then, of course, with Mexican food, you eat lots of fat, which helps you absorb all that toxicity. I would not even be halfway through my meal and my neck pain would flare up like crazy. I don't have neck pain anymore. I train my neck now. I have a head weight that I strength train my neck now. That's how much I don't have neck pain now. Okay. Continuing, sleep. Now that I'm not off, wait, did I already go over this? Yeah. Okay. Sleep. Now that I'm off hormones, sleep has been tough, and it's a new issue I didn't have before or really ever in my life. I had a really rough patch when I stopped progesterone and melatonin, but that is now better. I sleep pretty well at least 50% of the time, maybe towards 75%. Just in the past month, it may have gone up to 75% from 50%. I use about 3 layers of magnesium lotion over nearly my whole body before bed. This has been key. Also, strangely, vitamin K helps me sleep. And my tiny bit of lactoferrin, nutrition detective lactoferrin, helps me sleep too. But go over and or under and I can't sleep. Oh, and 1 charcoal pill right before bed to preempt the nighttime bile dump. Everything I just mentioned is part of my delicate balance to get a good night's sleep, plus managing my neck situation so there's no pain that keeps me up from that. Okay, another aside. Sleep is something that is very difficult for people. One of my biggest issues that I had to fix for myself was chronic insomnia. And people who have had really bad insomnia and they start feeling like they're going a little crazy from it, I have been there. It can drive you slightly batty or really batty. But so she talked about stopping progesterone and melatonin. So you can drug yourself to sleep. I don't know if you've seen the research, but what they talk about with sleep medications is you're asleep, but you're not really getting sleep. You're not like in a deep sleep state. You are not awake, but you're not getting restful sleep. So you can drug yourself into a sleep-like state. And melatonin is really powerful. It is a hormone. So if you're taking hormones, you tend to become addicted to them. I took melatonin for a little while, and I noticed that there was a huge dependence on it where I didn't feel like I could sleep right for at least 3 days after I stopped it, which can keep people addicted, right? Because you try to quit your melatonin, and then you sleep terrible for 1 night, 2 nights, and then you go, oh, I got to get back on my melatonin. So you get back on it, and so you stay on it forever. You go, I can't sleep without my melatonin. Well, first of all, let me help you with your melatonin. For those of you who are using melatonin, it's a Band-Aid. I'm not totally against Band-Aids as long as you're fixing the root cause behind it, but just try to take the smallest dose you need. Don't take more than you need. Okay? And yes, sleep can be sketchy. She talks in here about adjusting her bile, which is the toxic bile theory. This is exactly what we do. So we got the magnesium. That helps many, many things like, vitamin A toxicity and old vitamin D supplements coming out of you and calcifications in your body. And copper toxicity will actually raise calcium. I went over this a couple live streams ago. All these things raise calcium. Magnesium is your antagonist to calcium. Topical magnesium, in my humble opinion, is 10 times more effective than pills. So what do we use here? We use topical. She's using magnesium lotion. That is one of your options. Vitamin K helps pull calcium out of where it is not supposed to be, like, your brain, your heart, your joints, your soft tissues, and helps put it back into places where it is supposed to be, like your bones. Now, she just said that magnesium, which helps decalcify you, and vitamin K, which helps put calcium where it's supposed to be and take it out of where it's not supposed to be, helps her sleep. Obviously, calcium, dysregulation is part of her issue. We're fixing it, but there can be rough patches at times. Lactoferrin. I've talked a lot about lactoferrin on this channel. Lactoferrin helps to repair the bile ducts. It helps to increase bile dumping. It helps. Go look at the research. There's a reason they call lactoferrin the miracle molecule. I'm not going to go over all of it today, but scientists call lactoferrin the miracle molecule. If you decide to start it based on what you hear here today, there is a link on the bottle and also in the Love Your Liver program about how to start it. Please make sure to read that. Lactoferrin is extremely potent. Note how she said if she goes over or under and she can't sleep. So she has to get just the right amount of it, because too little, she doesn't get the benefit, and too much, it's too strong. Okay. And one charcoal pill. What is charcoal the best at of anything? It soaks up bile. It soaks up vitamin A. Be very careful with charcoal. Too much will constipate you because it soaks up bile so well. Moving on. Keratosis pilaris, the chicken skin rash on the back of the arms, is 90% gone. I didn't have this high up on my list of things to fix, just thought it would be nice if it ever went away. Well, it's almost all better, and since nothing else has ever worked before, I figure I must be on the right track if that is improving too. Okay, this is another one. We're going to poke holes in the BS of the mainstream. If you go on the internet and if you go on PubMed, they will say keratosis pilaris is vitamin A deficiency. And if you take some vitamin A, it may make it get a little better. Well, you can take Accutane and poison your liver and make your acne better for a while. Does that make your liver healthier? No, it can ruin your life. Until you find me and we fix it. And Accutane is the longest thing to fix, folks. If you've taken Accutane, I'm sorry. You've got a long road ahead of you to fix. If you're thinking about Accutane, remember my name if you make the mistake of taking it. Remember my name. Come find me when the stuff hits the fan. But anyway, keratosis pilaris is a great example of things that you can treat with vitamin A, and it may get a little better for a while. And in the background, once you store too much vitamin A in your liver and your liver is injured enough, you get enough toxic bile leakage, it will come back and the vitamin A won't work anymore. This is exactly what happens with Accutane. This is exactly what happens with using vitamin A to treat things. It helps at the start, and then later it doesn't work anymore. I used to have keratosis pilaris. I don't have it anymore. This woman used to have it. It's 90% gone. We are avoiding vitamin A. It cannot be that keratosis pilaris is a vitamin A deficiency and a toxicity. It can't be both, folks. Continuing, tooth sensitivity. This is another new issue that I've never had before. Bile in my mouth, probably irritating and causing grief. I haven't solved it yet. It is just getting worse little by little, working with Dr. Smith on this. Yes, this is probably bile coming up into the mouth. We discussed this the other day. We discussed vitamin K. We discussed charcoal swishes to help soak up the toxic bile in the mouth. It has nothing to do with bone density. This is like, you know how they'll say with acid reflux, which is actually bile reflux, you can get a cough. It's because it's coming up into your throat. This is real. We start improving bile production so much that it can go places it's not supposed to go. This is what I help people adjust. I'm not going to hide that there's issues that pop up along this process. This is why I tell people this is not a game. You try to go out there and you do this on your own with no guidance, without 1,500 people to lean on, without me to lean on, you might get into a place where you don't know what to do. It's probably a place that many, many people have been in before, or that I know exactly how to manage. And a lot of times I'm telling people you just need to chill out and slow down. You're pushing things too hard. The same thing can happen in a gym. Are people going to go around saying that weight training is bad because high school boys love to go and hurt their shoulders doing bench press every day? No, that'd be silly. Okay. Continuing. Key takeaways. I have had to go slowly with everything, and I feel wonderful that I am more in tune with my body now. I test all supplements and big changes one at a time. She listens so well. My key indicators when something doesn't agree with me are can't sleep, headache, fatigue, and or inability to work. Very telling, and so I back off. This is like the best testimonial in terms of how to do this stuff. Everyone should be paying great attention to this. Continuing, I use gobs of potassium and magnesium, a 64th teaspoon, that's called a drop, 1/64th teaspoon of lactoferrin daily. Keep the fiber and fruit low. Eat only chicken instead of beef to keep zinc low. I'll talk about that. Take 1 drop of molybdenum and no zinc supplement at all. I reduced my exercise and other agitators. I am slowly getting better. The improvement in my level of fatigue is truly a godsend. Also, that I'm not constantly bothered by my digestive system is amazing. Nor daily headaches. What a gift. I'm just going to keep going. I'll talk about the zinc in a second. I am grateful to God, my husband and family, Dr. Smith, Megan Stevens, and this community for everything I have learned and how I've been encouraged this past year. I don't find the diet or lifestyle hard at all. I feel like it's an investment in my health to correct years of following all the wrong advice, over-medicating, over-supplementing, etc. We are saving a lot of money now with my husband and I both stopping our bioidentical hormones and all the junk supplements we used to get, not to mention canceling doctor visits. People think Love Your Liver program and or working with Dr. Smith makes things more complicated. No, I think it makes things much more simple, and it definitely works. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. So, this is an amazing testimonial. The zinc thing. This person is very, very sensitive to zinc. What does zinc cause in her? The copper deficiency people are going to be like, oh, it's causing her copper deficiency. No. She had excess copper on testing. On testing. I believe it was hair and blood. I'm not going to go check right now. It's either hair showed it or blood showed it or both. And she had a zinc deficiency, I believe, too. On hair testing or blood testing or both. I'm not looking it up, like I said. What zinc does is it goes into your liver and it kicks out copper. Where does that copper go? It goes into your bile. If you're not well, where is that bile going? Where is some of it going? It's going into your blood. Then you get excess copper in your blood, and then you get copper toxicity symptoms, which include depression and fatigue and headaches, can't sleep, all the stuff she was saying. That's what she's saying when she knows a supplement doesn't agree with her, that she's either not ready for it yet or she doesn't need it yet. My goodness, just listening to this testimonial and me talk about it, many of you who are not on the program or who are on the program could gain tons of benefit of just looking at something and going, I tried that and I didn't feel good on it. And Dr. Smith said, if it hurts, don't do it, right? That classic medical information. People think it's a joke. It's not a joke. If it hurts, don't do it. She's listening. She's benefiting. Okay? So, this person has actually found that they are so sensitive to zinc that they are switching from beef to chicken, and they're not taking any zinc supplement, and they're taking 1 drop of a molybdenum supplement. And they're getting better. So am I going to look at her labs and say, obviously you should take zinc and make yourself not sleep and depressed and irritable and all this stuff? No, I just go, if that's what's working for you right now, that's great. I had a woman correct her zinc deficiency with 5 milligrams of zinc a day, supplement-wise. Does that make a lot of sense? No, not with the patterns I usually see, but was that what worked for her? Yes. If she went over that, she didn't feel good. If she stayed at that dose, she got better. Imagine listening to your body. Imagine that. Imagine a doctor telling you, here's the paths we're trying to take. Try this. See how this feels and come back and tell me. Imagine that teamwork. Try this and come back and tell me. And then we'll make a decision. Imagine having 6 months of access to me to bounce this stuff off of. That's what happens in the packages. This is how we do this. So anyway, if you are interested in working with me, go to the nutritiondetective.com, go to the consultations tab. That's where you can find that. We now have Nathan Weens, PA, physician's assistant, who I have trained, who is now taking clients as well. So people don't have to wait. I think we're backed out 3 months right now for me. Things are going well. Maybe because it works. It's not because I'm a great marketer. Anyway, let's go into, well, geez, we're already at 8. You know what? I'm just going to run through these 3 studies really quick. Because I said it in the title of the video. Well, I could just change the title of the video. I'll just change the title of the video. I'll save these for next week. I'll put the, well, actually, yeah, I'll just save them for next week. So, questions. So remember, if you already sent a super chat, I haven't even looked. I've been looking at the screen, reading the testimonial. So super chats are enabled. If you want your question, we got like 30 minutes. If you want your question to go to the top of the queue of the list, super chats are enabled. You can do one. Otherwise, we are going to take them from the top down. Let's go. Vinny asks, any connection between vitamin A and copper toxicity and the whiteness of the eyeballs? I've had these gray spots for some time. In terms of research on that, let me just see if I can find something. Gray. Mm-hmm. So we got a couple of words for it. Scleral melanocytosis. Checking to see if it's related to copper first. Nothing with copper, obviously. No, obvious. That is obvious. Checking zinc now. Okay. Here's our potential connection. So I have various patterns of things that pop to my mind when certain things are present. When I hear eye problems, I do think vitamin A very quickly. And I also tend to think zinc very quickly. Zinc deficiency and eye problems, they are like bosom buddies. Now, before I go into this paper that I just found, know that I've seen data that says that 50% of China's soils are deficient in zinc. Now, being that China is a communist country, do you think the data coming out of there is going to be truthful? Or would it be likely fudged to make them look better than they actually are? I'm going to say it's probably fudged. So, let me turn this a little bit. 50% of their soil is deficient. That's the information that's coming out. It's deficient in zinc. So I did a search for zinc. And let me put the link in here just so anybody can check up on me if they want. Obviously making up all these links as I go. Scleral melanocytosis is found in about 5% of Chinese boys and 4% of Chinese girls under the age of 1 year. The peak prevalence is around 6 years of age, when about 45% of boys and 47% of girls are affected. Hmm. 50% of the soil is deficient in zinc. And what was that, 11 years old? Or was that 6 years old? 6 years old. At 6 years old, about 50% of the kids are showing up with these gray spots on their eyeballs. Probably no connection. That would be my guess. So here's the thing to know. You need zinc to protect yourself against copper. You need zinc to protect yourself against vitamin A. And you need zinc to help make retinol binding protein, which is what protects you against the vitamin A. And you need zinc to be in your body so that copper doesn't move into those spots. That would be my connection between vitamin A and copper toxicity and the gray spots on the eyeballs via zinc deficiency. That's what I got. Okay. So let's see. Ramon asks, Dr. Smith, any updates on a shower head filter system you can recommend? Okay, so let me just back up and update you guys. It turns out the Mineral Stream shower filter, I'm sorry if some of you went and bought it on my recommendation. It turns out the way somebody on the network tested it, it was not a good testing methodology. And we didn't actually see any after the water had been run for a while, because I don't know if you ever noticed, but when you pee first thing in the morning, tends to be the darkest of the day. Sometimes you may even see sediment in it. Like overnight, it just sits and concentrates cell debris in your urine. It's so what I mean by that is after water sits for a while, or even if you put charcoal in water and you stir it up and then it settles, like things settle, right? So when this person first tested the Mineral Stream shower filter, they tested it like right when the water came out, which is where things concentrated, which is different than after running it for a while. And so people retested it and they ran the water for a while and they found that it wasn't really reducing the copper in the water. So I didn't know the testing methodology. I didn't know that would present an issue. So now we know. There is someone on the network, I do not know if they're listening, but they had found a shower filter company that did test their water, and they got it down by 33%. They got copper down in the water by 33%. If anybody knows the name of that filter, well, let me just go see if I can get lucky on my inside the Love Your Liver network. See, this is what you can do, folks. If you join the Love Your Liver network and you want to know something, if I've talked about a subject or if another person has talked about a subject, you can just go and type it in the search bar inside the Love Your Liver network. So Evan, I'm not going to say his last name. Let me go open this up. I remembered, so this is how I can find things on the network very quickly. It's because I have a really good memory. Must be because my brain is not full of copper and vitamin A and genetics. I remembered that somebody said 33% reduction of copper. And so I searched 33% copper filter inside the Love Your Liver network. And I found Evan's comment or post about this AquaYouth 2.0 filter. So I'm going to put the link in here. It's on Amazon. That's the link I got. I'm not going to go searching for more right now. I don't need to spend time doing that. But he said they claimed 33% reduction. That is the best we've got right now in terms of verified. The Mineral Stream people did not give data on any of their stuff. They just said it takes everything out. Oh, there it is. Here's the reduction of contaminants. This is on the page. You can scroll down to it. It's a bar graph, sideways bar graph. 99% reduction of chlorine, 63% reduction of lead, 100% reduction of iron, 33% reduction of copper, 100% reduction of mercury. This test was conducted by the Korea Environment and Water Works Institute. Hey, I'm going to need to get one of these. All right, cool. Thank you, Evan. See, this is the teamwork that 1,500 plus people can have. I'm not the expert on everything, nor do I claim to be. But I am good at getting people to work together, and I am pretty good at leading them in the right direction. So then we can all find this stuff together. And I always give credit. Anybody out there who ever says I take other people's ideas, I give more credit than anybody I've ever seen. Anyway, so that's what you got, Ramon. The link is in the chat. The AquaYouth 2.0 carbon shower head filter. Okay. Simon says, some say you need at least 10 grams of dietary fat per meal to fully contract the gallbladder. Is low-fat eating hindering bile release? That sounds like, to be blunt, a crock of dog stuff. It's like, you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at each meal, so you got to eat 6 times a day. Do you know that the eating like 5 or 6 times a day was started by the protein powder companies? So they could sell you packets of scoops and packets of protein powder because they knew that almost no one was going to cook real food 6 times a day. If they got you to eat 6 times a day, they were going to have to give it to you in an easier way. This is how they manipulate us. You need to keep your blood sugar steady, like by eating 6 times a day. That's not... You don't have to drive around and constantly fill up your gas tank to be able to drive around, right? Your body should maintain your blood sugar. Funny thing, if you go and you look up here, let me just do this for you guys real quick. If you don't know how much vitamin A messes up your blood sugar control, let me see. Why is this not coming up? I need to, hold on, let me do my advanced search. Let's go. Pretty, searching is kind of a thing. So this search is not working. I'll have to figure out the other search. But if you want to, go search for vitamin A and HOMAIR. Here, I'll type it in here so you guys have it. Search for vitamin A and HOMA-IR. That's an insulin resistance test. And every study they do, just about with vitamin A, the more vitamin A the animals get or the people get in their diet, the worse, the more their insulin resistance and the less their insulin sensitivity. So just an example of like what really controls our blood sugar. Magnesium helps protect you against excess calcium. Vitamin A raises excess calcium. Excess calcium is found in diabetics. Higher vitamin A levels are found in diabetics. Higher carotenoid levels are found in diabetics. Higher serum bile levels are found in diabetics. It's all connected, folks. Magnesium reduces blood sugar problems. Magnesium is kind of antagonistic to vitamin A. Magnesium relaxes the system. Calcium and copper and vitamin A contract the system because they raise calcium. That's what they do. Vitamin D supplements do the same thing. So anyway. But saying you need 10 grams of dietary fat per meal to fully contract the gallbladder, unless there's a study that actually showed that, and do you have to fully contract the gallbladder? That would be the first question. I mean, we know that excess fat ruins gallbladders. It's shown in women all the time. Excess fat causes excess bile dumping, And fat helps you reabsorb that bile right back to the liver. Do you want that? I don't want that. I want to crap that bile out. So if you want to keep your bile, you can keep your bile. If you want to keep your disease, you can keep your disease. You don't have to believe a single thing I say. It doesn't bother me. If you like your disease, you can keep your disease. You like your bile, you can keep your bile. I'd rather make more so I can get rid of more toxicity. Okay, hold on. Let me see. But that's what I got there. That sounds like just made up stuff. If they don't have a reference for that, it sounds like they're making up stuff. And then the question is, do you need to fully empty your gallbladder? Like your toilet always has some water in it, doesn't it? Do you have to always fully empty your toilet? You know what I mean? So when they say this, is it necessary? Is that Let me review my theory of what the gallbladder actually does. Your liver generally, as far as I understand, your liver just makes a trickle of bile like all the time. This bile, why do we have a gallbladder? To collect this bile. So think of it, it's coming out of the liver. And then if you look at the bile ducts, it goes, there's a valve down here, a sphincter that closes. So the bile builds up and it goes back into the gallbladder. Okay, that's how that works. When you eat something that contains fat, let's say, something that contains soluble fiber, let's say, your food in general, your gallbladder, if you still have one, squeezes the bile out. The sphincter opens, squeezes out, goes into your guts to mix with the food. A lot of people like to say that that bile is super important in absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin D from your diet, and I'm like, maybe not. But anyway, it goes in, it mixes with your food. Okay. I believe that bile is the most toxic fluid by definition in your body. It is your liver's poop, to put it bluntly. Your liver is your sewage treatment plant. How does your liver get rid of that garbage without damaging the rest of your body? It puts it into the bile. So therefore, your liver, being the toxin processing plant, has to put the toxic waste, the sewage, the processed sewage, somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. You don't just detox things and they poof, are gone. It goes into the bile. So your bile is super toxic. The more toxic you are, the more toxic your bile is. The more diseases you tend to have. It goes into your gut. Now, this toxic bile, if you think of it like hot lava, that's like the best imagery you can get. And if you didn't know, they haven't been telling you, Mauna Loa in Hawaii has been erupting, and other undersea volcanoes around Hawaii have been erupting. They can see it on heat signatures. Go check Dutch Sense's channel, DUTCHSINSE, Dutch Sense. He's been going over this stuff. Not seeing it much on the news. Weird that they'd hide this from you. But anyway, toxic lava, hot lava, toxic bile. Hot lava coming out burns everything it touches. It's damaging everything it touches. That is what toxic bile does to your bile ducts, to the liver cells itself. I've been over that research. Toxic bile damages the liver cells that make the bile themselves. It damages the bile ducts inside the liver. And if any of those start leaking, the bile ducts inside the liver or the liver cells, that's called intrahepatic cholestasis, and that leaks into your blood. Okay? It goes through the normal bile ducts, the common bile ducts, which connect to your pancreas, to your gallbladder. Your gallbladder marinates in this toxic bile. Do you wonder why gallbladders go bad when you have toxic bile? Because they hold it. They may be designed for it, but even things that are designed for holding toxic things can break down if things get too toxic. This should make sense. So it's flowing down through there, damaging everything it touches. And then it goes into your gut and it damages your gut lining, leaky gut. And then hopefully you poop out some of it. Standard American diet people are pooping out about 5% of that bile. People on, let's say, carnivore diets who are eating no fiber are probably pooping out 0 to 1% of that bile. They're getting rid of even less bile. So it's just getting reabsorbed and going right back to the liver. I just want to help you folks with the carnivore. If you're not eating any fiber, all muscle meat carnivore diet is an extremely low toxin diet. That's a good thing. It's a very low vitamin A and a low copper diet. Gosh, wonder why people get better for certain things. But over time, you're not, the bile is kind of staying in that closed loop, the enterohepatic circulation. It's going from the liver into the guts and being reabsorbed and right back to the liver because they don't poop it out because there's no soluble fiber, there's no charcoal, there's nothing to grab onto the bile. Even a standard American diet has some soluble fiber in it. So the standard American diet's getting rid of 5%, but all muscle meat carnivore is getting rid of even less, but they can feel better because they get less toxins in their blood because their diet is very low toxin. So you can see positive things, but over time, it's just not going to do as much of getting rid of the old trash that was there. That was why they had problems in the first place, which is why when they go off the carnivore diet, stuff hits the fan. I do think humans are designed for muscle meat protein. Absolutely. Whenever I tell people, some people, because I write bad things about organ meats, they think I'm anti-meat. And I'm like, I eat meat 2 or 3 times a day. I already had a bowl of chicken thighs, chopped up chicken thighs this morning. I don't avoid meat. So, where was I? So the fat, do you need a lot of it to contract your gallbladder? Soluble fiber can do it. Here's the difference between soluble fiber and fat. Fat in your diet will cause the gallbladder to contract. Toxic bile goes into your gut. If you have nothing there to buffer, that's what I was going. I was going with the purpose of the gallbladder. Why it squeezes when you eat, because think about this, hot lava going right into your guts. Just plain hot lava, just touching all of your gut surfaces. It's going to do the most damage it possibly could that way. You could have a little trickle. If you didn't have a gallbladder, the liver, little trickle of bile is just going right into your guts all the time because you don't have a gallbladder as a reservoir. If your gallbladder holds onto the bile, the toxic bile, until you eat, think about this. The food and the bile mix together. The bile that is in the middle of basically your poop doesn't touch your intestinal walls. So it can't do damage. Only the bile that's on the outside of the poop that you're making can do damage to the intestines. So in an effort to prevent the toxic bile from damaging your intestines, you have a gallbladder to hold this toxic lava so that it comes out when you eat, so it causes the least damage. Could it be that coffee causes you to poop because most of the time people are having coffee without food? Or that coffee is triggering a big bile dump and then you have to poop because bile is your trigger to poop. Your body wants to be rid of the bile in your guts. That's why bile triggers you to poop. Too much bile in your guts, you get diarrhea. The right amount, you poop normal. And not enough bile in your guts because it's going back into your bloodstream, called cholestasis, toxic bile theory. You're constipated. Once you understand toxic bile theory, so many things make sense. Let me go find that question. Sorry. I'm sorry that it took me a while. Where was it? There it is. Oh, Ramon just says, Dr. Smith, thank you for all the information you pass on to us. You rock. A million thanks. God bless you. Well, thank you very much, Ramon. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the kind words. I am here to serve. Yes, absolutely. So anyway, let's keep moving forward. That was awesome. But yeah, that's my theory on why a gallbladder exists. It's like, why does the appendix exist? It's a storehouse for good bacteria in your gut. So that if something comes through and wipes out everything, you have a seed area. Like it's like storing seeds of probiotics that in theory don't get damaged as much when something comes through. You eat something toxic, food poisoning, what if something comes through and just goes crazy, too much bile going through there. So yeah. Okay. Neg OCC and Pangasa-san says, what's the best for chronic hepatitis B? Well, fixing your liver, which sounds so simple as to be not useful, but I think I've been over some of my alternative viral theories on this channel before. Viruses are evidence of toxicity in the system. They're not the cause of the problem. If they do anything, they trigger massive bile dumping, and so you poison yourself. I am not concerned about viruses because viruses need a toxic environment to be around. So even if we believe they do something, what they do is they trigger massive bile dumping. That's why when you get a virus, the flu virus or the COVID, this is why you feel bad. It's not that something's I mean, what do they actually say that these things are doing in you? What do they actually say? Why do you feel so bad? Because you've stored up all this poison in your liver that you're now dumping into the system. And then as the trigger for the dumping stops and your liver can catch up, then the symptoms go away. This is what it is. So let me just take a second and go into the autism and the lupus. So first, I'll just do the lupus because it's quick. So concentration of serum bile acids as an index of hepatic damage, liver damage, in systemic lupus erythematosus, right? They say lupus is an autoimmune disease, and there are flares. What could cause a flare? What if somebody's liver is really toxic and they dump a lot of toxic bile all at once that leaks into their bloodstream and then starts wreaking havoc? The most toxic fluid in your system, you just dumped a bunch of it into your bloodstream all at once, and you have a flare. So let's see if this is true. Is there more bile in lupus? I'll just start here quoting, the aim of this work is to evaluate the concentration of serum bile acids, SBA, bile acids in the blood, as an index of impaired liver function in systemic lupus erythematosus patients versus usual laboratory tests of hepatobiliary system diseases. I'm going to take a second here to say they're trying to say that serum bile acids, so bile acids in the blood as an index of impaired liver function. It's not an index of impaired liver function. It's bile where it's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to have bile in your blood, in your normal bloodstream. It does show you that there's liver damage, yes. But it doesn't talk about the cause of it, which is what we do in the Love Your Liver program. So let's just go into this. In patients with systemic lupus erythematosus, lupus, the mean fasting serum bile concentration, just so you know, fasting serum bile is going to be the lowest possible. The mean fasting serum bile acid concentration was 9.6 plus or minus 1.4. I believe that's micromoles per liter. MU mole, I haven't seen that. Usually they just put U mole. And then anyway, in normal subjects, the concentration was 2.9 plus or minus 0.6 micromole. Let's go over they have another liver enzyme here. In patients with lupus, mean GGT, gamma glutamyl transpeptidase, that's a liver enzyme, concentration was 31.5 plus or minus 5.9 micromoles per MU. M units, they mean micro units, I believe. ml, these are weird, versus 10.05 plus or minus 1.1 mu/ml in controls. So let's just go over that. 9.6 in lupus, 2.9 in normal people. Now, let's just talk about this. So you say, but the normal people had bile in their blood. Who do you know out in the world today who is totally healthy? If people are being honest, it's like nobody. Do I still have work to do? Yes. Could I be even better than I am right now? I've gotten rid of all my old health issues, but could I be even better? Absolutely. I know I can be even better. I'm not done with this. Grant is still making improvements. Grant Genereux, who wrote the original books on vitamin A toxicity, he is still seeing improvements 8 years down the road. You live in a toxic world. You don't get to escape it. So let's just do 9.6 divided by 2.9 to see how many times. 3.3 times. Lupus people had 3.3 times more bile in their blood than controls. What was it? They're 31.5. Well, basically, and they had 3 times higher gamma glutamyl GGT. 3.3 times more GGT in their blood. 3 times more liver enzyme. 3.3 times more bile in their blood. I'm telling you that the cause of your disease, whatever it is bile in your blood. So we just did this with lupus. Let's go into autism real quick. And let me tell you, for those of you who are going to go and look up bile acids now, this is how they're going to fool you. This is the new way they're going to go. They're going to start saying that having more or less of certain bile acids in your blood is good for you. This is how they're going to distract you and have other people on the internet going, but this is good for you. You want more of this bile acid in your blood and you want less of this one. And You want none in your blood. That is what you want. 0. Why should your digestive system, your liver goes to the bile ducts to the intestines. And then there's the enterohepatic circulation, which is blood that goes from the intestines directly back to the liver. That's a closed loop, the enterohepatic circulation. When they test your blood bile, your serum bile acids, they are not testing the enterohepatic circulation. If you have bile in your blood, you are leaking toxic bile, hot lava into your blood. It is poisoning you. You can have better or worse compositions of the toxic bile, which can give you imagine how many different ways can you take eggs and flour and sugar and make different foods out of them, right? So how many different I think the last time I saw it was they've identified 55 different bile acids in the blood of humans. So how many different recipes could you have? How many different diseases could you create with different compositions? Why at different times of your life when you've been doing different things have you had different health problems? But why in general have the health problems been slowly stacking up over your life? What about if you have certain nutrient mineral deficiencies? Is that going to change how this affects you? Sure. What about your genetics? What if you know in your family line that you tend to have a weakness in a certain place? What about how you learned how to eat from your parents? So then you take nature and nurture, you take what you were given genetically, that's nature, and then you eat the same things that your parents did because that's what you learned. Do you think you're going to create the same problems? Probably. That's how you do it. So anyway, that was lupus. I've already been over before. Diabetics, type 2 diabetics have twice as much bile in their blood as controls. Lupus, 3 times, 3.3. Diabetics, twice as much. Does anybody ever talk about bile in your blood other than me? I don't know if I put this article in there. Let me see. Is that the one? Is that? Let me see. Yeah, okay, here, let's go. Microbiota-related changes in bile acid and tryptophan metabolism are associated with gastrointestinal dysfunction in a mouse model of autism. I'm just going to read this one sentence. It was a mouse model of autism. Here we show that a reduction in the relative abundance, so a lack of a very particular bacterial taxa or strain of bacteria in the BTBR gut. So that's their autism model mouse. Namely, bile-metabolizing bifidobacterium and Blautia species is associated with deficient bile acid and tryptophan metabolism in the intestine, marked gastrointestinal dysfunction, as well as impaired social interactions in BTBR mice. So they're lacking bile-metabolizing probiotics in their gut, and they have marked gastrointestinal dysfunction. Like maybe because hot lava is touching their intestine too much. Could be too little. SIBO is too little bile in your gut. Well, if it's not going to your gut, where's it going? Into your blood? Secondary bile acids are the most toxic bile acids. They can measure these in your blood. Secondary bile acids are created by your gut biome, a dysbiotic gut biome. So your biome is making the bile even more toxic, which causes cholestasis, which is how it then leaks into your blood. Okay. They found an obvious connection between the gut biome and the bile in a mouse model of autism. Now, I'm just going to go over another one, just the title of this next one, because I'm going to tell you that aldehydes is something we also talk about in the program a lot. I'm just going to tell you that the title of the study, the pivotal role of aldehyde toxicity in autism spectrum disorder, the therapeutic potential of micronutrient supplementation. I'm going to tell you that I don't like a lot of the suggestions that they give in here, but they do show the pivotal or very, very important role of aldehyde toxicity in autism spectrum disorder. Bile problems and ALDH problems, aldehyde dehydrogenase, the enzyme in you that breaks down aldehydes, are absolutely connected. I can't go and pull up a study that shows it directly. It's just, if you can, this is one thing I'd say you're just going to have to trust me or listen to me on, is after looking at all these things and seeing different studies in different areas, I can tell you that your bile and your aldehyde dehydrogenase, these processes are extremely connected. That's what I can tell you. So here we see autism connected to aldehydes and autism connected to bile. Weird. So weird. Are they going to tell you about this? No. They're going to tell you things like cinnamon's good for you when cinnamon is up to 95% cinnamaldehyde. Okay. Okay, I think I can get one more question. Oh, let's read this. Emirhan says his 6 months update on his vitamin A detox. I feel a lot better. It's been 6 months of vitamin A detox, but my liver enzymes are still high. Okay. But no, I have terrible joint, liver, and gallbladder pain, but I am pretty sure these are because of my detox. Okay. So when we have people come to us with liver pain and then it goes away. If you are having, so something that you might try, if you are having pain in a certain area, is you can try a charcoal poultice, which is, or you can try, this is something we're just figuring out. I just heard about this from somebody in the network. Gosh, weird, this 1,500 people working together, finding out new cool things. So for those of you in the network who hear this and you want to try it, I want more feedback. Because the initial feedback I got from someone who is very intuitive and very sensitive to their symptoms is very good. And Sounds good. So anyway, charcoal poultice, you could put it right over your liver and gallbladder area. It's basically like a mask. Equal parts charcoal, activated charcoal. I like hardwood charcoal. Let me find the link to the one I like. This is the stuff I use. There we go. So, equal parts by volume. So, equal measurements, not weight, equal measurements of activated charcoal, hardwood activated charcoal, and psyllium fiber. Let me find that for you too, the one I really like. Come on. I'm gonna work on the live stream stuff to do this to do this on a StreamYard, whatever, one of the live stream programs, so you can see the links better than having to look in the chat. But anyway, I'm not there yet. I'm working on other things, working on other really cool supplement developments. So anyway, psyllium, equal parts psyllium and activated charcoal, hardwood activated charcoal, equal parts. Add enough water to make it a paste-like consistency, like a mask. So it's not just going to fall off. You're going to lay there. You're going to leave it on for at least 20 minutes. If you're into leaving it on even longer, you could leave it on until it is completely dry. The psyllium will soak up toxins. The charcoal will soak up toxins. The psyllium gels, so it helps hold together the poultice. Now, this is the other new one that people have been telling me about. You mix a lotion, but especially magnesium lotion, so you're getting the magnesium in you, with charcoal, and you apply it to the area. Now, there's going to be charcoal on you. It's not going to get absorbed, so you're going to have like a black-ish, grayish, smeary lotion on your body. But it's doing a similar thing to the poultice. And the person who told me about this said she said it feels fundamentally different and better than just a charcoal poultice. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool because it's going to stay in place better. With a charcoal poultice, you may not be able to get up and walk around with it unless you put saran wrap covering the whole area. And it still may like squeeze out some charcoal juice and become messy. But if you do the lotion with the magnesium lotion with some charcoal and you apply it, it's going to stay there. If you bump into things, it's going to come off, of course. But it's an interesting thing. I'm probably I may go try it as soon as we're done and see how it goes. Cleaning it off may be a little bit messy. You could do it in the shower. Just go in the shower and wash it off. It can all go down the drain. So anyway, if any of you out there do it with the mag lotion and the hardwood activated charcoal, tell me how it feels. But this is something you could do over the liver to help get the toxins directly out instead of having them have to go through your gut and be pooped out or leak back into your blood and go to your kidneys or out your skin. The other thing I generally would say is I see your name, Amir Han, and I just want to throw out something. Now, I have no idea where your name comes from. I'm just throwing something out for people who live in these areas. If you live in an area of the world where eating cows, beef, is frowned upon because they are considered sacred, this is a reality for those people. Some of the biggest things that can help with vitamin A detox and preventing symptoms from coming up along the way is enough protein, enough zinc, and it seems that people need a bit of taurine. Doesn't mean run out and supplement tons of it. And if you don't feel good on taurine, then don't eat it. Doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, don't do that. I don't take taurine. I eat meat. But if you don't eat red meat is the highest of the meats in zinc. Generally, I mean, it's super protein, obviously, and taurine. Okay. Taurine is, just so you know, for you vegetarians, you lacto-ovo vegetarians or whatever, on the internet, they'll say there's taurine in dairy and eggs and all that stuff. No, there's no taurine in those. There's none. None. Taurine is only in muscle meat. So if you're missing out, taurine can help protect you from retinaldehyde. We have that study on retinaldehyde adducts in the eye where taurine binds to retinaldehyde. And I go over on the vitamin A deficiency epidemic, the vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist video on this channel about how all the symptoms of supposed vitamin A deficiency can be replicated in the symptoms known with zinc deficiency and taurine deficiency. Weird. So I had somebody who lived in one of these areas and they said, well, could I eat lamb? Lamb's red meat. I said, yes, absolutely. If you can't do beef, do lamb. If you can do red meat, it is way more effective than poultry. If you're going to do poultry, do skinless if you can. I mean, I'm not going to deny. I had chicken drumsticks the other night. I made them here in the air fryer, which, so air frying obviously or grilling would get the most fat off of them because it can drain. But I had chicken drumsticks the other night. I ate the skin. But that's a rare thing. Like when I make my normal chicken thighs for the week, I do them skinless. But if you're going to eat poultry, eat dark meat. It's got the most zinc. It's still like, I didn't look up chicken thighs, but chicken breast. So here's the difference in zinc. If you're not supplementing zinc, I figured it out the other day. Beef had 10 times as much zinc as chicken breast. So I didn't look up chicken thighs, but 10 times as much zinc. The zinc thing and enough protein and potentially taurine, if you live in a part of the world where if you don't eat much red meat, or if you live in a part of the world where you don't have access to beef, or you don't want to eat beef, getting another source of red meat like lamb can be super duper helpful. And then just watch out for things. You know, you could do the charcoal poultice, or you could try that charcoal lotion approach, the charcoal mag lotion approach I just told you about. And it may just be a passing thing. And definitely watch your fat intake. Watch the types of fat you eat and watch your fat intake, because if those trigger it, then the solution is not as much of those. Okay. And let me just read. So we got a quick testimonial to end it today from Pierre, who is a big fan of the program. He's actually super helpful to me. He just wanted to give his little testimonial here about hormones. He said, I got congenital hypogonadism, which is low testosterone, low DHT, low DHEA, all that stuff, low hormones, low male hormones, the stuff that comes out of, well, DHEA may be an adrenal hormone anyway, but low on the hormones that come out of your testicles as a man. Okay. Congenital would mean he was born with it. Okay. Some people would say, well, if you're born with it, you're screwed. Well, let's read. I got congenital hypogonadism, but I chose not to take TRT since it hasn't been benefiting me to keep taking it, regardless of type and dose. This diet is improving me even while I avoid TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. I mean, what are we doing here, folks? We have somebody who was born, and there are ways that you can look at young men and tell that they have these issues, okay? Just like you can look at a baby when they're born and tell whether they're a male or a female, all right? It's not that hard, right? But you can look at male babies, and as they develop, and you can tell that these things like congenital hypogonadism are happening, okay? He was born with a problem. He tried testosterone multiple ways, different types of doses, different approaches. It didn't help. And now we're helping his symptoms by avoiding toxins and correcting deficiencies. The first thing you must do if you are new here is understand that you have been lied to about nutrition your entire life. We have all been lied to. If we understand their goal, it's to make us sick, infertile, and die earlier. That is their goal. What is the best way to get all of us to do this to ourselves while we pay them for the privilege? It would be to infect and corrupt nutritional science. This is why I am the nutrition detective, because there's a crime going on here. Crimes against humanity. They're happening everywhere else. Why would people not think that they're happening in nutrition? I mean, why would nutrition not be corrupt when everything else is? I wish I was not. I mean, there are lots of people out there who are catching on to this and they're starting to promote this, but I wish I wasn't, the only main. I mean, there's Grant Genereux. I will forever be grateful to that man. He comes on my Inner Circle private Q&A group once every other month these days. I will be forever grateful to that man for opening my mind to vitamin A toxicity. There is Anthony Mawson, who is a researcher who has published about 34 papers on the connection between vitamin A toxicity and cholestasis, or the toxic bile theory of leaking toxic bile into your blood causing your problems. Anthony Mawson is fairly limited to saying that it's the vitamin A that's in the bile that's leaking into your blood that's causing all the problems. And is that a big problem? Yes, that's why we get such great results with getting people to minimize their vitamin A intake. But there's other problems in there too. Your liver stores copper, your liver stores lead, your liver stores all the fat soluble. When you hear about forever chemicals, PFAS and all that stuff, DDT, those get stored in your liver. Do not ever, anyone who ever says you don't store things in your liver is fundamentally incompetent at understanding the liver. There is no other way to say it. Have them go, or you go, when they say this to you, go and search the things that you think that I talk about or that I show on Twitter threads and on my other videos. Use the word accumulate when you search the research. Use the word accumulate. Don't use the word store. Researchers don't use the word store. One of the reasons I've been able to do this is because I'm just actually really good at searching, and I'm very good at using other words. And I have a medical background, so I know the terminology. I'm like an insider that I get to dig into these, and I'm willing to dig into these places and say what we're doing is not working. What the general population is doing, what the alternative side is doing is not working. What the conventional side is doing has never worked. And we're saying there's got to be some other way. And is it in the research? And then I just present you all the research. So that is all I have for today. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Okay, no, I didn't. Oh, Josh Getsko. Yeah, let me see. Getsko. I asked him his name multiple times so I can make sure to pronounce it right. Josh, Josh. Obviously, that's how you spell Josh. Getsko, his last name, Guetzkow. Again, Guetzkow. He's on Twitter. He did a great group meeting with a group called Pandas. We're not talking about the disease pandas. We're talking about a group called Pandas on CUFID and how it connects to vitamin A toxicity and cholestasis. He's great. Those are some of the big people out there. There's others. I'm sorry. I'm not mentioning everybody because there are there's a lot of people out there who are starting to get it. And I am honored to be kind of the leader of this. Somebody has to do it. And I am happy to do it. So hope you all enjoyed it today. So if you want more from me, there's all my links are down in the description. You can find me on Twitter as NutriDetect. You can find me on the other social medias. I'm so losing interest in Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. They're just so anyway, but you can find me on those places. I'm working on my lovely 14-year-old daughter likes to make a little money, so I'm having her try to repost my threads, my Twitter threads on those platforms. And the Love Your Liver Network, the 1,500 people I keep talking about, you can find that at members.nutritiondetective.com. You can find my main website. If you want to work with me, do consultations, that's at nutritiondetective.com. And we're here every Friday, same time, same place. 71 videos in now. We passed 3,000 subscribers, so thank you very much, y'all. It's hard to get subscribers when what we do here requires thinking and questioning and potentially saying everything you've been doing before is wrong. So my kudos to all of you for being here, for being able to do the hardest cognitive things that a person has to do, which is realize that you were lied to, say everything I thought I was doing right was wrong, and then swallow your pride and say, I'm going to do the opposite now. So salute to you. And I'm off to do my inner circle group. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be here next week. Have a great weekend. Bye now.